guess the way I look at the most significant changes in the energy industry is that it's changed as significantly as every other part of our life. Since the mid-1970s till now, no matter where you look, things are just fundamentally different, look different, are different. And I think for the energy efficiency industry, while anyone who's been in it over that course of time could look at the things that we could have done better, should have done, still need to do, etc. Those things are all true, but the energy efficiency industry has made a tremendous contribution, despite all those self-criticisms we could make in terms of improving the future economic and energy future and the options. So it's just a tremendous change in the sense that the industry is not only adapted to changing technology, changing consumer attitudes, just changing politics, etc. In some ways, well, it's possible to look back over those years and again, like I say, be able to point out all the things we should have done. I think when I sit here right now and look at all the people that have spent time and effort over those years, it's really kind of amazing what has been done in the positive. So I think the important part is that the energy efficiency industry has evolved with the evolution that's occurred in every other part of industry or in every other part of the world, technology, people's attitudes, and how we deal with one another. The industry is going to obviously continue to evolve, and in some ways we're in a speed up of that transition, of the evolution of where the industry will go, because we're really following again sort of the main economic and environmental trends and issues of our day. So evolution is going to be, continued evolution is going to be absolutely necessary, and that's true for whether it's the industry, whether it's practices and policies and equipment, but it's also true obviously for any organization that if you don't change, you probably don't exist or are irrelevant. So I think WEC needs to do something that it's always been able to do in the past, and that is, whether it's exactly on time or not, we've changed to recognize, and accommodate maybe isn't the right word, to the new futures in the energy industry and efficiency industry. But that's exactly what I expect WEC will do, because if and it is our mission-based role, that requires accommodation to achieve that role successfully. I think if I were getting into the industry or someone else is getting into the industry now, there's two things I'd say to them. One is, this is a very exciting opportunity because of all the experience and the knowledge and activities that you need to know. That energy efficiency sounds like sort of a plodding subject, but it isn't, obviously, given the developments in technology and being able to accommodate variations in human interest and concerns. So I think it's a very exciting and innovative, and whether you're interested in really the technical skills development part of it or in the human social policy dimensions parts of it, it's an exciting area to be in at this point in time, particularly as we go through another transition to another phase of the efforts. As for other things, I think it's also provides an opportunity that many people are interested in, and that's being able to work on something of great importance to you with a group of people who share that great importance. And as a result of that, it provides an opportunity to have not only an exciting experience with issues, but also to be able to work in an environment that is both encouraging and supporting. And you meet a lot of nice folks. I know this is somewhat facetious, but for folks who have been executive directors at WEC or any other organization, it may seem like a small answer, but the biggest goal is actually being the executive director, that you actually pass the organization on to another executive director. The biggest thing you want to try to achieve is having a sustainable and viable organization that continues after you're there. So while sort of like a program of programs and other things, well, one could think back of things they could have done better and should have done better, that ultimately if you are able to move the organization along and get it to its next stage where other folks can make it prosper and be successful, that's probably the absolute goal you want to achieve. EFS, I think, is an example of WEC's development over the years, and it's really been focused on what makes a program successful, cutting edge, that meets people's needs. And it's very clear in certain segments of the market, large comprehensive retrofit projects that cost a lot of money, or even just for some folks putting in furnaces or other things, that traditional finance for everybody may not work. And therefore there was a need to try to have lower cost, more flexible access to credit, reasonable access to credit, especially for folks who are moderate to lower income, who maybe didn't have the same bank lines or credit cards or could pay cash as other folks. So therefore, it really was intended for two purposes. One is to increase the success of our programs by increasing the folks who are able to participate. But it also has been part of the energy industry, and I think still is, and a fundamental issue is making sure that not just some people have access to the opportunity for savings, but you're really looking at folks in a lot of ways who receive the most benefits from energy efficiency, and making sure you're trying to find ways to bring them in. Energy efficiency financing, which wound up as EFS, is certainly one way to do that. WEC has done that in many other ways in terms of its work, including a continuing focus on low income and ensuring that there is really, I'll call it energy efficiency justice, as well as economic and environmental justice as part of our effort. When I started at WEC, and early in WEC, one of the big questions was how big was the table we need to sit around, because one table usually did it. So the growth and sustainability are always the initial part of any organization. Unfortunately, the folks who came before me or started here before me set up a good base for that. Again, it was a transitional period in energy efficiency and energy, so they were really sort of the pioneers of what might be possible. And the benefit of any folks who come before you is they leave you the opportunities to be successful. And that was certainly been the story of WEC, I think, over the years, is that WEC has been able to adjust and make adjustments as appropriate to meet its vision, to meet its goal, in order to do that. And that's been a continuous process at WEC. It's not attributable to one person. It's attributable, again, to a group of people who are really committed to their mission. WEC is, I think, like a lot of sister organizations to us, nonprofits around the country that we're affiliated with, know, and some we grew up with over the last 30 years. And I think that the real benefits are, again, that there is a sense of community, a sense of togetherness, whether it's about the work or whether it's just about the work environment that you want to be in. So there are folks who, at every organization, who are maybe entirely mission-driven, and folks who are supportive of the mission, but there's other things in life that they need to do and support. But I think the nice part is that the community mix in WEC has been that we're all part of the same community. We're all contributing to a world that we enjoy living in and working in. And in that regard, it's as much fun having the chili cook-off at WEC as it is, coming up with a new program or getting a new RFP. It's a good way to live with nice folks.